Because I think one of the biggest struggles for agency owners is they do everything themselves and they're really burnt out. I've been able to build my agency to this level by only working like 10 to 20 hours a week. And the rest of my time I spend coaching other agencies how to get to that point. It's a total game changer when you get to the point where an agency, which is supposed to be like stressing you out and burning you out, is actually like a freedom-based residual cash machine. And, you know, I've worked with Russell Brunson on a number of things and done some of his high-level coaching. And he said, I don't know anyone else in the agency space that's figured it out where they can work less like you.
Hey everyone, it's Tamara Thompson with Broadcast Your Authority, and I'm excited for our next guest, Rich Feola, who's built his now 9-figure advertising agency. You actually started in 2017. That's awesome. After maxing out credit cards and betting on himself, which I love this story already. Over time, he developed his unique scaling process he calls the Residual Exponential Agency Process, which is a unique way to build a team driven by performance-based commissions. That's unique too. So I'm really excited because I actually came across him on some content and some ads, which he is a pro at, and his team, of course, and company. So thank you, Rich, so much for joining us today. I'm excited to dive in.
Thank you, Tamara. Yeah, I'm really glad to be here too.
That's so cool. So you literally you started, I saw an ad from you that literally was like, we were at $71,000 a month and we went to like $2 million months or something.
In 1 year, yeah.
In 1 year. Can you tell us a little bit about that story? Yeah. That really got me right there. I was like, okay, I need to know this guy right there because that was impressive. I want to at least know your story too.
Yeah, definitely. So when I started the agency, it was kind of just a side hustle because I wanted to replace my wife's income so she could stay home and we could start having kids. I was a financial advisor, pretty successful at it. But then I decided when we launched it, we started getting so many clients that started taking up too much of my wife's time and my time. So I just went all in on the agency and maxed out our credit cards, just put all our money on ads. So like, if we're going to run ads for people, if we're going to tell businesses they have to run ads, then we're going to do that too to build our business. And so we scaled it up to about $300,000 a month in a matter of like 6 to 12 months. And then we got that dreaded Facebook message in 2019. You're restricted from advertising. You can no longer advertise. You can no longer be involved with Facebook ad services. And our entire business got shut down because we were primarily on Meta Facebook ads at that point.
Was that for your company or was this?
That was for our agency. That was for our agency. Like yeah. So we had all of our clients on our business manager because we didn't want our clients to just be able to, with one click, to remove us and steal all our work. So we got shut down and I had to really rethink how I was going to restructure the agency. And so I restructured it a different way and we had a couple clients still left over. We were at that $71,000 a month number. And then 1 year later, we got to $2 million a month. Now, how do we do that? So I decided to restructure the agency differently. At the time that we were at $300,000 a month at our peak, I had a whole team of in-house digital marketers. It became a job at that point with our office space, like making sure they were getting results for clients. And we had some salespeople who were, they get a commission when they sign up a client. But the problem was that the salespeople would overpromise to a lot of the clients, say like, oh yeah, we'll get you 1 million leads. Like you'll have the best results. And they didn't really give realistic expectations of what actually happens when you try to run ads for your business. And so we would have a lot of churn, a lot of clients canceling. And so this time when we got shut down, I had some time to think and like, I need to restructure this agency a way that I'm going to not be bogged down with so much delivery and fulfillment. So I decided to outsource our advertising to a media buyer that I trusted and trained. And then I restructured our sales team to get a lower commission upfront for bringing on the client and then get a residual commission every time the client renews, which was higher. So this restructured the way the sales team thought and said, okay, now I need to focus on getting long-term partnerships. I need to focus on giving clients realistic expectations and having them continue month over month so I can build my own book of business. Being a financial advisor in the past, we got paid residual commissions for every client that we manage their investments. So I thought, why don't I take that model to the agency space and have my salespeople get residual commissions every time a client renews? And what that did was the combination of switching media buyers who actually did it better than us, and paying the salespeople in residual commissions, our business just blew up. So I had 3 salespeople at the time, and I thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to double my sales staff. I really want to scale this because I think this is a game changer commission model that these sales guys are really excited about. So I got 6 salespeople. I didn't increase my paid ads at all. And so they all got less appointments. They all got less opportunities to close deals. And what that did for us was that they actually worked every lead to the bone. Whereas before they were getting 100 appointments a month and some would fall through the cracks. They weren't taking it seriously. Now we've got 6 people getting 50 appointments a month and our sales tripled. And then we just started really building it up. And to the point where 1 year later, we were at 2 million a month. And then a year after that, we scaled to 4 million a month. And now we're branching out into other verticals because we started our ad agency in the solar energy space. And we kind of maxed out that industry as much as we can. We've worked with over 4,000 clients over the last 7 years. And so now we're expanding to other home services and life insurance and all these different other spaces to try to build it up even further in the future.
Are you also going into like coaching and consulting things like that for yourself?
So I have started building my personal brand and my coaching program. I started it about 3 years ago. And some of my first students were like Alex Hormozy, Joel R.E.A.P, some of these like big names in the agency space, like Rob Bailey. And they were just like blown away at this whole commission structure and a lot of these different things. Hormozy actually mentioned me on my podcast and no one knew who I was because I didn't build my personal brand yet because I was just so focused with my head down scaling my agency.
Yeah.
I was kind of unknown on social. So I started about 3 years ago, started coaching other agencies how to implement this commission structure for their sales team to focus on retention and long-term growth. And so that is at ad-visory.com. That's where I actually work one-on-one with a number of agencies to help them implement this Residual Exponential Agency Process, which is patent pending, where basically we restructure the sales team, restructure the agency to outsource all the delivery and fulfillment so that the agency owner can actually have freedom. Because I think one of the biggest struggles for agency owners is they do everything themselves. They're running the ads, they're doing the sales, they're focusing on customer service with their clients, and they're really burnt out. And I've been able to build my agency to this level by only working like 10 to 20 hours a week. And the rest of my time I spend coaching other agencies how to get to that point. And it's a total game changer when you get to the point where an agency, which is supposed to be like stressing you out and burning you out, is actually like a freedom-based residual cash machine. And, I've worked with Russell Brunson on a number of things and done some of his high-level coaching. And he said, I don't know anyone else in the agency space that's figured it out where they can work less like you. And that was, really, really good to hear from someone that I really,
it's incredible.
Really value and appreciate.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, I love that aspect, especially in the agency world. Like, so I don't know if you want to dive a little bit deeper into as far as like the structure with like the ad buyers and all of that. How does that look like as far as, the sales team's on the commission, like residual commission from the client? What does the ad buyer structure look like? Unless, I don't know how far you can share, but or how deep you can go.
Yeah. So the media buyers, we pay them a percentage of the ad spend.
Amazing.
And then we negotiated based on the volume that we're sending them. Because when I first worked with this media buyer, I was like, hey, we have a really good sales team. Like, we're going to bring you a lot of business. So like, how can you work with me on like what we're paying you? And they were like, hey, if you could get us this amount of clients, which we've always over exceeded, like we have a lower rate. And a lot of my coaching students have the benefit of utilizing them as well. And they get the same rates as me as long as they hit some of those same volume requirements. So that's been a huge value add for some of our coaching students who have agencies who they're just burnt out on running the ads themselves. They don't want to do it anymore. And they really want to have a freedom-based business because that really is the most time-consuming thing. Like the optimizing of ads and the changing of things and like always rolling out new builds and new creatives and everything. It's just like, it's a bear. And like, once I outsourced that, I was able to really focus on, okay, now I'm going to build revenue generating systems in my business, focus on my sales team and focus that we're a sales organization first. that happens to sell digital marketing. And so by focusing so much more of my time on building a robust sales team, that's really what scaled us to a level, that most agency owners only dream of.
I believe somewhere, I was trying to remember if it was in content or video or something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but was it you and your team that you created a system where the account managers and the ads team and the relationship managers, the touch points of the customers, you kept them the same person versus like, here's your onboarding, your sales. I don't know if was that you that created this structure where the touch point kind of stayed in that, so that like they had the better client experience coming through with that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the Residual Exponential Agency Process that it's patent pending right now.
That's what that was.
So essentially, most agencies, the way they do it is, they have a salesperson, they talk to a prospect, they sign up the prospect, and then it gets passed off to like a client success manager or client success team member. And then they're like, hey, I'm going to manage your account. I'm going to be running your ads, et cetera, et cetera. And the disconnect is that the salesperson overpromised to the client and gave all of these unrealistic expectations. And then the client success manager is trying to manage all of these expectations because they aren't going to promise those things because they know the reality of the situation. And so then it becomes this fighting match between the client and the client success manager, and the client's complaining, their expectations aren't being met. And the client success manager is usually just someone who's an expert at ads. They're not an expert at overcoming objections, overcoming challenges with clients.
So how did you find the right individuals that had either certain skills or maybe good, in the middle of both, that could learn to be stronger at sales, that could also run ads and be, capable of all this? How did you find that? Or did you find it could be like a great customer service person that, knows this? There's that rock star again.
Rock star.
How did you find those individuals, I guess?
Yeah. So I use a proprietary behavioral assessment whenever I do any of my hiring. I take my hiring really seriously. I don't hire just anyone. They go through this rigorous question and answer process because, you've heard of Myers-Briggs and like some of the personality tests. Those are great. But with mine, it's based on work behavior. So it's all questions based on what they're going to do in a work situation rather than what kind of personality they have or what kind of, inclinations they have and thoughts that they have.
Is it something that you created or something that you use as a resource?
Yeah, it's something that I've used like exclusively with my agency, and now I offer it to all of my students. It's something that we've worked with a number of psychologists on to like build out and license out so they can use it as well. And so basically what it does is it tracks like how you know how this person's going to act under certain stressful situations, and under certain sales situations, and under certain like customer service situations, and then also how to retain them. It asks a lot of questions about like why they would feel valued at a company. So like I've never lost one salesperson in 7 years of doing this. Some of my sales guys have been with me 6 years, 7 years. Some have been with me 2, 3, 4 years. We've never lost like a key member.
Wow.
And it's because of, just being really careful with hiring. And yeah, we may not have the best salespeople in the world. They may not be like killers like you would think, like these high ticket salespeople who are just rock stars, because we have hired some people like that with that experience in the past, but they think they know it all. And they I ended up having to fire them because they just weren't a good fit on that customer service side of the business. So usually finding like younger people who are kind of green, and then like I can train them on the sales stuff to get them by. But really I want to make sure that they care about people and that they're going to take care of people and take care of clients. So our close ratios probably aren't as high as they need to be. But our retention is really where the business makes sense because it's a lot cheaper to maintain a client than it is to acquire a new one.
So true.
So that's why we've structured it this way.
And I fully agree with you on being so careful and diligent in the upfront hiring process. Is your testing, like you said, Myers-Briggs, DISC, there's all sorts of personality tests. Yeah. Is there something, that proprietary software that you have, is that more skill-based? Is it...
it's more skill-based. It's more like behavioral-based. It's more about like what kind of leader are they? How do they communicate? How do they act under certain stressful situations? It spits out a graph where it shows them, like, for instance, it has like these paradox charts. So one paradox would be, for instance, persistence and experimentation. So it's like a XY graph with persistence on the bottom, experimentation on the top. And so persistence is someone who's going to like do everything they need to accomplish whatever their one goal is. And then experimentation is trying new things to accomplish a goal. But those are like direct paradoxes. You know, someone who is really stubborn on getting one thing done may just keep doing the same thing over and over again and fail. But if someone's too high on experimentation, they're always trying new things and never get anything done.
Shiny object.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to find them in that like perfect section in the graph where it's like, hey, they're super persistent, but they're also willing to experiment and think on their feet and be creative. And that perfect balance of persistence and experimentation is what we call inventiveness. So I want to hire inventors. I want to hire people who think quick on their feet. They're creative. They're experimenters, but they also get the job done.
Love that.
That's
So
great.
Kind of gives an example.
Are most of your clients like local home service companies? So like in a city or at least in a region, a state or something like that?
Yeah. So most of our clients in our ad agency are in the solar energy space. They service, you know, various metro areas throughout the United States, Australia. And then we also have water treatment companies like selling water softeners and purifiers. We have roofing companies. We have kitchen and bath remodelers. We also just started getting into life insurance, building all these different separate brands. So we actually have subsidiaries of our main company with all these different sub brands. So if I do want to exit, I can sell one sub brand to a strategic buyer and then keep the other agencies and those sub brands in all these different niches.
Gotcha. What is the sort of front end offer that you I mean, because there's a lot of agencies out there, a lot of agencies that run ads for, or that run, you know, do the same services you essentially for local businesses, local service providers. Why is it that so many clients go with your agency? Like, what's that front end offer that's really bringing in clients for your agency as opposed to like the competitors in the city of Chicago or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So for us, when we reached 2 million a month in 2019, we were figuring out how do we scale this further, because we thought like, hey, this is amazing. Maybe we should start going into other verticals, other industries, but we waited and we actually built a call center to provide a higher level of service for our clients. Because before then we were just generating leads. The clients would get the leads in their CRM. They would have to call the leads. They would have to have their own appointment setters. They would have to follow up with the leads and generate business. So then we built a call center to be able to take over that aspect where, hey, we're going to actually call the leads on your behalf. We're going to generate the appointments for you. So all you have to do is just show up and close the deal. And that just added an extra level of service that a lot of other agencies don't know how to do, and they've never implemented it. So it really separated us from a lot of the competition. And then we also built a very robust referral program where, you know, coming from the financial advisor world, like referrals is like essential to be a successful insurance or financial advisor. So I just took some of those strategies and implemented them in my agency, where we incentivize clients to give us referrals. And so a lot of our clients are actually doing a lot of the selling for us too. And so that just kind of snowballed with word of mouth and having our clients being on the front lines, like encouraging other potential prospects to sign up with us. And it just built like this huge brand where, you know, we're the only agency in our space that has like a 4.8 Google review. Like none of our other agency competitors even are like confident enough to go on Google and like list a business listing. And then like we have a really good rating on the Better Business Bureau. It's just like, there's a lot of separation factors there when we're like the biggest in the space and just recognized in the industry.
Yeah, and I don't mean to over drill into this question either. I had a paid ads agency. That was what I sold. So I when you were in that growth, like now I kind of understand the idea that call center is a big differentiator in the local services agency space. Like that's huge. When you were scaling up though, how are you differentiating? Or was it just a matter of like, just bring volume of leads in, do enough pitches and we'll get enough business? Or yeah, I'm curious what that looked like.
So we were just in the right place at the right time when Facebook shut me down. When Facebook shut me down, I was interviewing media buyers to try to like outsource that nightmare of like ad disapprovals and like dealing with creatives and all those things. And so when I researched a number of media buyers, the one that I chose was really an expert on Google. And up to that point, we were only on Facebook, and really no one else in our niche was targeting on Google, YouTube specifically.
That was 2019, you said?
Yeah. So YouTube was kind of like super cheap at that point. It wasn't as competitive as it is now. And so we just basically, we were like one of the first people who said like Facebook ads are dead. Like we were just pumping that out into our niche. I was just like, yeah, I've tried Facebook ads. They're not that great. Let me try this YouTube thing. And that really was the catalyst to, on top of everything, on top of the residual commissions, focusing on retention, giving realistic expectations, the fact that we were getting more intent-based leads off of YouTube was a major game changer compared to like Instagram and Facebook.
You weren't pitching Facebook ads like every other local services agency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like our special sauce in 2019, 2020, when it was still cheap to run YouTube ads. Yeah.
Sorry, I've got like a whole bunch of stuff written here, and I won't take over. But
No worries.
I'm curious really about. So you said you have sort of like and this is, I think, super smart what you're talking about. And I want to emphasize after my agency got acquired and I was sort of leading the performance team at another one, and we focus more on e-commerce. When I switched the process from an external person selling, like a person who doesn't help fulfill selling, to like the person who leads the fulfillment pod, or the pod of people, that's actually going to fulfill for the client and run their ads and give them creative recommendations and stuff. And it, like that person, that kind of lead strategist of that team is selling. We had 3 different teams at that agency. That you're absolutely right. Like it was a way better. I would say we probably lost more deals when I did that, right? Because it was, they weren't just going to say
experienced salespeople, or they weren't like willing to lie. They weren't willing to lie.
Exactly. Yeah. But we closed up because they knew they had to deliver on whatever it was they said. Our retention got a lot better. So I can see how that helped a lot. I'm curious what the team that when you close a client, you have that person who was I don't know what your title for him now is, but
account manager.
So
the client has one point of contact, which is their salesperson and their customer service manager.
And then behind the scenes, how many?
Behind the scenes, we have the outsourced media buyer. We have communication and systems between the media buyers and the account managers. But the account managers don't have to be experts in ads. And I think that's another advantage that we have is that it's not the people actually running the ads, because sometimes if you're running the ads and you have all that technical knowledge in your brain, you like start to overcomplicate communication with clients. So with the account manager structure, these are like sales guys primarily that know how to do customer service. They're not going to like give TMI on like what's going wrong with the campaign. Right. They're just going to try to
CPMs are up 30%.
Yeah. Like they're going to overcome objections rather than saying, the cost of advertising is up 30%. They're going to say, hey, we just have to get through this Black Friday. And you're going to see it.
Everyone else is.
You're going to see it turn around a lot more, right? Or if someone says your CPMs went up 30%, well, what does that mean? It means the cost of advertising just went up 30%. I was like, well, I should cancel. It's TMI.
This doesn't work anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One more question I have here. How I don't know how much of this you want to share either, but what's the fee structure that you work with clients? Like, is it, and I'll just kind of give the overview of like different fee structures of paid media agencies, and by and large is like just a flat fee, or then there's a combination of like flat fee and variable, which would be like flat fee and percentage of spend. And then there's some people who just do like a pay per lead model or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm curious like what your guys' approach is there.
Yeah. So our approach is a retainer plus ad spend model. And so that's our main approach. We do have some other offers where they just pay per appointment. There's some different
their money on ads and they pay per appointment, or your money on ads?
Their money on ads.
Okay.
Pay per appointment. And then we also have like just a flat fee model where we determine what ad spend is going to hit their goal, and then it's just like a one-time fee per month.
Yeah.
So, depending on, because we have so much market knowledge of all these industries, and like, okay, well, this market might be super competitive. So we know, okay, that client's going to be on retainer ad spend because we're not going to take on the risk of the ad spend.
Right.
But like if another client's in another market where it's like, hey, like we can actually take advantage of this opportunity because the client's willing to pay X, but we can actually get them better results by only spending Y, then, we structure the deals that way.
A different variable rate.
Yeah.
That makes sense. how involved in creatives do you have to be? Because I think especially, I think that one of the things that maybe, if I'm reading this right, fuels this whole thing is that you've taken over a niche, right? Like, so your team knows solar services really well. And so what we learn in Chicago, we can take out to Kansas City and New York and Florida and all the other places from a creative standpoint and from a funnel standpoint. And is that an accurate kind of assessment? Or
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, working with over 4,000 companies, I mean, probably 80% of those are all solar companies. So we've run so many campaigns in so many every single market that anyone would sell solar in America in. And we just know what the particulars of all those markets are. We understand the solar industry really well, being in it for 7 years. Like, it's a complex industry because there's a lot of like knowledge of electrical, kilowatts and all this stuff. And, there's different like nuances of the different products that people offer in solar, as various products. So over time, after doing so many sales calls and bringing on so many clients, we've become experts in this space.
The clients can feel that you know what you're doing, plus you know what works creatively.
We speak their language. Yeah. We're not speaking in like digital marketing language. We're speaking to them in solar language.
Yeah. Sorry, I took over the conversation with a bunch of nerdy paid media agency questions. But so to back out one more thing, I think a major advantage you have now, and like something that was probably a big risk and big investment, maybe a little scary at the time, was investing into a call center. Broadly speaking, how would you advise somebody who's kind of assessing something like that, where they're like, okay, I'm having some level of success. I think that this thing could give me a little bit more of a moat. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. How do I decide when to just like push and just make that investment? Like, do you have some frameworks you use for that? Or are you just like, I don't know, we rolled the dice and it worked out?
Yeah. So we actually have a done for you offer at ad-visory.com to like help build a call center.
Yeah.
So our developers build a custom dialer. A lot of people use Go High Level for like setting up appointment setters and things like that with their dialing software. I love Go High Level. I'm about to, get endorsed by them, for like funnels and automations and stuff like that. But we actually built a custom dialer that actually is more efficient than, the systems in Go High Level for dialing. And then we built an overseas team, and we train them. We build those teams up. They get trained on scripts. Because I used to set appointments before I even started my agency. I used to knock doors, selling roofing and windows, and I know how to like talk to someone quickly and set appointments. Especially when I was a financial advisor too, like I knew how to set appointments because I was cold calling all the time. And so just use that expertise to like train agents. So we do that for agencies now, so they can actually hire us to custom code the dialer for them, hire their agents overseas, and then train them on how to like, create the scripts for their niche and, actually start making the clients pay for like funding the call center. So that's like really the secret sauce for me, is that my agency didn't pay for the call center. It was the clients who paid for it by structuring the offer in such a way that they paid extra per appointment on top of the retainer, on top of the ad spend, that actually funded the call center. So it was mostly like a break even.
How can I liquidate this as a good framework?
Yeah. So it was like more of a break even, but it was such an incredible value add that our sales went up and our retention went up.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
A lot of physical product companies will build their own warehouse, but then they'll turn that into 3PL that others can use. That's the same kind of principle here. This is a great, knowing paid media agencies is a great business. There's really hard to build moats in paid.
Well, I love the fact that you're built. It's ad-visory.com, right?
Ad-visory.com.
And so I think that's great. You have this background in the solar space, but you started going into other niches too. But now you're going to be teaching, you are teaching other agencies. And this is something that's so powerful and so needed right now. If people were to connect with you on other areas, where would they connect with you on social media? What's like most important to you, I guess, to share out there?
Yeah, thanks, Tamara. Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at the Rich Feola, Feola, and you can check out ad-visory.com. We're actually giving away half my program right now for only $97. You can just get a taste for it, learn how I structure the sales team the way I do, how I go through my hiring process, different elements that took us from $71,000 a month to $2 million per month. And you have the option to buy the whole thing for only $997. You get one coaching call with me, and then you can decide if you want to work with me one-on-one. Obviously, that is a more significant investment, but a lot of agencies get so much value out of just the $97 or even just one coaching call with me that it's well worth it. So check that out. Would love to meet you and work with you. And thanks so much, guys, for having me on.
Thank you so much, Rich. I really appreciate you coming on. I think a lot of people in our audience are going to find a lot of value in this. So
absolutely.
Again, if you're watching this and you resonated with Rich today, definitely check out everything that he's going on. He's got a lot of great success stories on there. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, ring that bell, leave a comment, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and we'll see you in the next episode.